Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Fleury, here he comes with Reichel. Fleury for Reichel. Great save by Kirk McLean.
Oh, just amazing. Don Whitman on the call, 94 playoffs, Game 7 against Calgary. Kirk McLean with the amazing save off Robert Reichel. Arguably, well, it's not arguable. Best save in Canuck history.
No question.
Leads to Pavel Bure scoring the double overtime goal. Just such great memories. Wish we could turn back the clock. All of our guests today, including Kirk McLean, who's about to join us, brought to you by the Alberni Power and Marine RPM group. Pleased to be joined now by Kirk McLean. Kirk, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Always good. Pleasure, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, Thatcher Demko makes 50, and by the way, just can't get enough of that Reichel save. I'm sure you've talked a lot about it, but Thatcher Demko makes 51 saves the other night against Toronto. So let's go back in your career. What do you remember about your 52 save performance in overtime against the Rangers, Game 1, Stanley Cup Final?
Well, the fact that it was the Stanley Cup Finals, one, and two, of course, 52 shots or 51 shots, what it was. But, under the circumstances and first game in the Big Apple, Stanley Cup Finals, it was a special moment, obviously.
Yeah, what is it like to be on a roll like that, getting so much work? Do you enjoy it, or what's your mindset at that point?
Well, I think every goalie enjoys it, whether you want that amount of shots against all the time, probably not, especially if there's a fair amount of quality shots. That's the issue, right? You don't want to be giving up too many of those quality shots. The 50 shots are okay if 48 of them or 45 of them are from the outside. But I think when a goalie gets into it like that, you kind of get into that zone that you hear about all the time, and it's quite rewarding at the end of it, especially if you come out with a W.
Yeah, that was a great Canuck moment. Everybody talks about the overtime goal that Greg Adams scored against Toronto, but let's not forget he scored the overtime goal the very next time out in that Game 1 at Madison Square Garden. Hey, Kirk, what goes through your mind when you watch Thatcher Demko perform these days?
He's a pleasure to watch, that's for sure. I've been a fan of his since his start here in Vancouver and his development, obviously, in the minors, and he's coming into his own without a doubt. I think those bubble tournaments, I like to call it, in the last couple of years, certainly was good for him, and he showed a lot of people what he could do. And now, obviously, getting the chance to run with the number one position, and he's doing a great job. Ian Clark's doing a wonderful job with him, and he has such a calm presence. You can see it. You always hear that players play a little different in front of the number one goalie rather than their backup, and you can kind of see that a little bit. That's developing now with Thatcher. That he has the confidence of the players, and sometimes maybe a little bit too much, and they tend to leave him hanging a little bit, but he's rising to the challenge. That's for sure. He's having a wonderful season so far.
Hey, Kirk, more about 94 here. I'm sure you don't get tired of talking about it, but have you seen Thatcher Demko's Kirk McLean get up? Whenever the Canucks unveil or play in their black skate jerseys the next time around, and we're going to show pictures of it here, he's going to have this look, a tribute to your mask, your pads, the glove, the blocker, the whole bit. Just your opinion of that.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. When I knew they were doing this, he actually texted me in the summer and asked me if I would be okay with it. And I said, well, absolutely. It's an honor. Thanks for, letting me know. And, there's the class act that he is, for him to reach out to me and ask if I would be okay with it. I like him right away then. But when I first saw that, they had a couple practices before, but not in full gear. And I saw that on social media, and I was like, blown away. It's bang on. I used Vaughn obviously in Esper Steck, but CCM has done a wonderful job, and the mask is bang on as well.
Hey, Kirk, how have you seen the goalie position over the years transition? You see the Western Hockey League kids are getting drafted. They're 6'4", 6'2", 6'3". Just what advice you have for young goaltenders right now that want to get into that position? We know how hard it is.
You just stick with it. Have fun with the game. Even if you're a smaller goaltender, things change and the game evolves. We've got, when I say smaller, a smaller prospect in Rick DiPietro and DiPietro in the
Mikey,
and the minors, Mikey, and he he's an athletic type of goaltender, and he stops the puck at the end of the day. I think that's what it comes down to. But the trend right now is the 6'3", 6'4", the way the game is played. These guys are amazing athletes. What they can do in the butterfly position as far as their lateral movement, and they take up half the net when they're in their butterfly. They don't, they don't seem to be too out of position. So as far as the younger goaltenders, listen, have fun with it, enjoy the game, and you never know, right? Funnier things have happened.
Kirk, a lot of changes for the Canucks this year. You're part of the alumni, still a big part of the team. I got to figure all the alumni want to see a winning team in Vancouver. Do you see the bases there right now, Kirk? Is it going to get better in your eyes soon?
I do. I always have faith in management. Unfortunately this year, that huge changes, as everybody knows, and Jim had come in. Jim traded for me. He was when I went to Carolina, so he's from the past, and it was good to see him again, and I know he's doing the right things, and he's surrounding himself with some wealth of knowledge, with what he's done so far. So he's going to do it his way. And I think what people have to understand now that it's a new era, a new regime, they kind of want to do their build their team the way they want to. So again, it's going to be a little bit of a cycle, and it may take a little bit of time. He's talked about through the draft and building that way. So we'll see what happens at the trading deadline. If he does anything, it's not that easy to do, as you guys know.
Hey, Kirk, before I let you go, I believe you and Bob McCammon were close, and he was your first head coach with the Canucks, and he was, for lack of a better word, a riot to deal with as a member of the media. He passed away recently. What are your memories of Bob?
Well, Bob scouted me when I was in New Jersey. He was scouting at the time. And actually, if you remember Stevie Tajura, the name Steve Tajura, who I played with the Maine Mariners, lived in Bob's place, and I lived in the same complex. So I saw Bob quite a bit, as I did Berkey, because Berkey was a player agent at the time, and I could tell a story here about Bob, how I really first met him. It was at the end of our season in 1986, I think it was, and we lost out in a shootout. They were trying that year. They were trying the shootout as a demonstration, down in the AHL before they brought it up to the league, and we lost out to Fredericton of all teams, who was Vancouver's farm club at the time, in a shootout to make the playoffs. So, anyways, we're all the teams out. We're out afterwards and drowning in our sorrows, and there was this one fella that was kind of sitting up at the bar, and he was kind of needling me all the time, and I let it go for a while, and then I finally looked at him and had a few choice words for him, and the words were, I'll bleep it out, but listen to you, at that time I called him a fat and bald-headed son of a gun, and he's laughing away, and then I go back to the table, and all the guys are laughing because they knew who he was, and I didn't know who he was at the time. So the next long story short, I go to camp next season, get traded. I fly into Vancouver with Greg Adams, and we get in the night before we're going over to Duncan for training camp, and I walk down and go onto the bus, and I see this guy, and I go, "Oh my God!" And I didn't realize who he was. I still didn't realize who he was until I saw him. And I, oh my God, he's my new coach! And of course, as I'm walking on the bus, he grabs me and pulls me aside, and he goes, looks like the fat, bald-headed son of a gun's got you by the you know what.
Great story.
So we had a good laugh over that, and then of course he gave me my opportunity that year to stick with the club, and he coached me for the next 3 years, I guess it was, until he got fired.
Yeah, things worked out.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk, you're looking fit and trim, and thanks so much for this, my friend. Always good to catch up
guys,
with you.
And appreciate that. Yeah, and continued success, guys.